Our reactors for session 5.8 on education are Eng Chandy and Veng Kim Lee, and our reactors for media and communication are ABL and Nurimon. May, may I call on Eng Chandy to please say her reaction to the presentation of Mr. Juwaini.
Okay. Thank you to Mr. Hassan for the great presentation. Your background really inspired me. So as like I just mentioned about yesterday, speaker, he mentioned about how to develop a country. We have money, we have technology, but we also need human resource. And the human resource are made from education. And you quote one of the things from Gandhi that said, education without character is a social sin. So I just want to add my own experience. It happened when I was in the 3rd grade. I was not good at with math. And during the final exam, I did it by myself. But then the one who said it to me, he said like, he gave money to the teacher to get the answer. So it's also happened with the corruption as well. Then I believe him and I copy him. And you know, how many points did I get? Guess. 0. I was sad and I came back home and I told it to my dad and he said like, just believe in yourself next time and try to study. No matter how many score you get, it's because of you, it's your ability. So that I did it. And at the end of the year, I was sad again because I did not get the 1st place. And I came back home, I cried. And then my dad came to me and said, because I follow my heart and I follow my ability, that is why I get this grade. No worry, I am still the 1st in his heart. So start from that day, I believe that education, be a professional ethic in education, not just only like school teach you or like the friend teach you, but also the family play a very important role for you in the, to get the professional in education. And then I finished high school and I got a very good grade. And also when I finished my bachelor, I also get the very excellent grade. And it's my honor. I'm really happy about this. However, my questions, I'm now working as gender and like capacity building. So I'm really interested with gender equality. And in your presentation slide, in the program's implementation 4, you said you create like the special school for girls, formal and information education for women in remote area, and an advocacy group for women. I just want to know what like inspire you to create all those schools and what have you been doing so far with the school. I just want to know it like more because you did not really like say about it. Thank you.
Before we ask Mr. Juwaini to answer, we request the other reactor to react first, and then you can answer them both questions at one time. Yeah. All right. Veng?
Hello, sir. My name is Veng Kim Lee from Cambodia. Professional ethics of education is very important for develop the human resource in the society. For me, I want to share about the Cambodia context. As Miss Chandy mentioned, most of students in Cambodia is like cheating during exam. It is a big problem in Cambodia. But in recent year, just this year, the government, Ministry of Education and Anti-Corruption Institution have changed, have reformed the qualities of education. No more cheating. So, but the result is only 25% students that can pass the exam, and only 11 students that get grade A. So I would like to ask you that do you think this reform of quality education is you can call it oh sorry, can I ask you again? Do you think this government reform has a professional ethics of education? Thank you.
Yeah, you may answer now, please. Yes. Yeah, two reactors. Thank you.
I think. Hello. Thank you. Hello. The answer for the two questions, just your country needs you to work. Your country needs you to do immediately. And then what suggests me to do? And I appreciate the gender issue because we are in Asia facing the need of education for our women. So if we want to develop our community, our nation, we have to begin from the woman. Seriously. Yeah. According to the education reform, I think I cannot judge is it good or not, but reform is a long-term struggle. So mean that your country needs you also to help them to make success. Thank you.
Thank you. And may I request ABL and Nurimon to react? They are reacting on the topic of media and communication.
Good morning, Mr. Kavi. I am ABL from the Philippines. First of all, I would just like to say that I admire journalists a lot because not just that their job is really hard. You have to be fair to everybody, and you can't be biased, and you can't just keep on judging people and tattletale. There has to be a goal to every news that you disclose to people. And second, I would just like to point out that there are some journalists who just get information and they just basically what they do is tattletale. Like they just get the dirty work from other people and they disclose it without even being accountable about the topic. They just get different issues just for the scoop, for the sake that their news is to be talked about by the people, but they're not showing any solution. They're not giving away anything that we can do. What can we do about it aside from talking about the topic? Because mere talk cannot do anything about the issues of the country. For example, in the Philippines, there are different things that they're going wrong in the country, of course. In all countries there are, but what good will talk do? And for journalists, their job is to disclose information, but I think transparency without having someone being held accountable for anything will not do anything. So I admire those good journalists, and for me, journalists are also leaders. They could voice out the voices of the people who can't talk because they have the media, they have the medium to disclose information to everybody and at the same time give out their opinions and at the same time tell people the different sides of every story which people cannot see for themselves. So that's why I admire journalists, sir. And my question for you would be, because of ethics, there are different it's really hard to choose between right and wrong. So I'll give you an example, and would you like to, if it's okay, would you tell me what you would do in this situation? For example, an organization you are a part of, maybe even years you've been working for that organization, has done something that is really, that we could say a crime. Would you be able to disclose that information to the people, or would you just keep it to yourself, but risking your credibility as a journalist? So that would be my question, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Abel. Before we answer Dr. Kavi, Mr. Kavi, we should ask Nurimon to, our participant from the Bangkok Post.
Hello. Well, I myself am a reporter, and it's my duty to write news articles that are accurate, truthful, and non-biased. For me, these responsibilities have been stressed over and over again as a media communications graduate. However, when I entered post-publishing, I don't feel like these qualities are as emphasized as I would expect that it should be. It's a big responsibility being a research-based journalist. I'm not just showcasing that I can write. I am representing my editor, the newspaper, my sources, or even, in some cases, the credibility of my country's media system. I guess the hiring manager assumes that the writers would already have these qualities of truthfulness, accuracy, and non-bias in their stories. But I strongly believe that what they forget is that not all those who write are graduates of journalism or even of communications. I would like to know your opinion on this. And as an emerging writer, I think more than twice before choosing the angle of the story that I would like to write. Sometimes I get nervous or even a bit scared to write articles about the Thai government, and you have mastered that field. From your articles that I've read, you seem to have a strong point of view, and I'm just wondering, how do you have so much confidence to voice your opinion, and do you think of the consequences? Thank you.
Thanks. All right, Mr. Kavi, please.
Excellent questions. I would take 3 days to answer. It's a very good question. I think both of you make a very good observation. I'm actually very happy to hear from you, being a young journalist. First of all, I have to congratulate you because you are few journalists who write in English. In Thailand, writing in English is the very rare profession. So that's number one. So you have to stay on in this profession as long as possible because Thailand needs a journalist to write in English. You know why? Because nobody gonna read Thai language anyway, so you have to write in English. This is why it's very important when you write in English. Filipinos are very good with English, Malaysia, Singaporeans, so other countries also have to practice writing in English to express the opinion in the language so that you can tell the world. For example, every day there are millions of articles written in English. There will be one Thai article written by Nurimon just swim against 200 million articles, right? Saying that, hey, I am here, this is about Thailand. Can you hear me? No, I cannot hear you. You have been overwhelmed, So it's very important. Now, you raised a very good question because Bangkok Post, Mr. Pichai has a different culture. Editors in your newspaper and editors in my newspaper, I was an editor before, we have a different cultures. So nation has a very stronger voice, particularly myself. I am very confident in my writing because I do research. In writing in English, unlike writing in Thai, once it's in the internet, the whole world have access. So you cannot just write whatever you think. You cannot. You have to wait carefully. I'm very happy you said that. You're nervous. I am nervous too, because English is not my mother tongue. I have to think it over and over again. I am a dinosaur. Actually, I write 850 words. Right? In this day, everybody wants to be a star. Facebook, Twitter, citizen journalists, a few words will do. So that's difficult because you write, you have to have, number one, you have to make good argument. Number two, it has to be balanced. Number three, if you write on regional issue, international issue, you must take into consideration all sides, right? So it's very important. And having strong view is okay, but make sure that you do good research, and that you have facts right. Because if you write about your own country, you also have a lesser problem because if you write about major power, for example, if I write about other country, if I mention one word wrong, for example, if I write on the Palestinian, if I mention one word wrong about Hamas attack or something, the Israelis, the embassy, will just rush to see me. If I write something wrong about South China Sea, the Chinese embassy will just rush to see me. So it's a different ballgame altogether. So when you write that touch on foreign policy or other country, you have to be extremely careful. That is why you need very good knowledge. I have to tell you one story. In 1997, during the Tom Yum crisis, economic crisis, there's only one journalist who can write about financial crisis, hedge fund. No Thai journalist could understand hedge fund. I have to copy from Asia Wall Street Journal. There's only one. His name is Peter Maitri Ungpakon. He now works for World Trade Organization. You probably are too young because he's an expert on hedge fund. Now, to write about Southern Thailand, climate change, terrorism, you need to retrain, you need to understand international law, you have to understand UN resolution. So you need sort of broad knowledge, core knowledge. Otherwise, it's extremely difficult to write good article this day because there's so many factors and it's much more complicated. How can you write about, for example, IS, the Islamic state fighters? If you don't know the background, you don't know about jihadists, you write about ASEAN contact, if you don't know what's going on in Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, if you want to write about Southern Thailand, you have to know the history of Malaysia, Pasantrans in Indonesia. You know, all these things is very complicated. So I salute you. I mean, I'm glad that you are in this profession. If I can help, let me know. Now, for your question, it's very clear. First of all, as a journalist, you must ask yourself, can you associate with the company that refuse to tell the truth, which you promise to tell the truth? You probably have to quit the job. If you still work on, you accept the premises of the company. In Thai, it's like you sleep in the house and then you poo-poo on the roof of the house. You know? So I think this is a very clear but a huge dilemma. For you, you have to decide. For me, I would quit the job because I would not associate with the company. But if you decided to work with the company, then you have to compromise yourself. And I think this is difficult. A lot of people caught it in this dilemma. I was lucky. I worked in a newspaper who supports press freedom, so I don't have that kinds of problem. Unfortunately, my former newspaper, The Nation, now has changed a lot. And I was lucky because I have retired from the newspaper 3 years ago.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kavi. We actually have another 3 minutes, so if you want to ask some questions to either of our speakers, you can. Or maybe that means we can have an early lunch. So shall I request the director of CMIS PAFA to please present the tokens of appreciation to our two speakers? Yes, please, of course, please. Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gurat, and to all friends here. I answer your question also, that the leader might not live in dilemma. Decide it quickly and do. Pace it. I want to read praying. I wrote in my paper this prayer from Jesus Christ. He said that, "Oh my God, I don't ask you the light burden, but all things I ask you the strong shoulder." This is good praying. You must bring everywhere in your life, because it is not good if you ask light burden. But the thing we ask from God is to give us the strong shoulder to overcome anything in our life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On that note, may we call on Mr. Kavi to please receive his token of appreciation for our... You want to say something?
No. I just want to say a few words.
Yes,
that,
please.
Be a journalist and tell the world what you have in mind. And serve the world, because the world need a good storytellers, especially a good one. You know, without journalists, the world will be in darkness, because nobody going to know what's going on in the side of the world. Even with journalists, you still know very little. So be a journalist and be proud. You know, when I was a journalist, I always say this joke. Think globally, write regionally, and receive local pay. That's what I do.